Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin today released the latest labor force survey results. The announcement was made at a press briefing moments ago at Statin's headquarters in Kingston. TVJ's Andrew Lilly was there and filed this report.
The results are in. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin is reporting that Jamaica's unemployment rate is at an all-time low. That's right, we've never seen this number before. It's at 8%. That means that the unemployment rate has dipped by 1.6% from January last year. Now, of note is that more males have been added to the employed labor force. That's just over 673,000 males being added to the employed labor force, bringing the total number to 1.2 million Jamaicans. Now, Statin also released the latest inflation figures as at March 2019. That number came in at 0.8%, bringing the calendar year-to-date inflation to 0.7%, and the fiscal year inflation rate, that's the 2018 to 2019 fiscal year, to 3.4%. Now, of note is that the inflation rate continues to be below the Bank of Jamaica's target range of 4 to 6%. Statin also released the latest economic growth figures for the fourth quarter of 2018. That number came in at 2%. We're seeing where that is lower than that's a little bit higher than the third quarter result, but definitely much lower than the second quarter results of 2018. Now, we will continue to look over these figures and provide more highlights for you in primetime news at 7.
Or reporter Andrew Lilly reporting from Statin headquarters. A policeman and his female companion were killed after their motor vehicle slammed into a truck along the Angels Main Road in St. Catherine about 3:15 this morning. Constable Ramon Smith, attached to the Linstead Operations Branch, was heading towards Bogwalk and the truck driver in the opposite direction towards Spanish Town. The policeman reportedly lost control of the vehicle close to the AML service station.
When on reaching a section of the roadway, it is reported that the motor car would have drifted from his side of the roadway into the path of the motor truck, head-on, causing a collision.
The police and his unidentified female companion were pronounced dead at hospital. The truck driver received minor injuries.
Now by the station, he gave us a statement, and he was warned for prosecution as the norm, issue a warning notice, and investigation continues.
And the Road Safety Unit is reporting that St. Catherine is the parish with the highest number of road fatalities, accounting for 17% of road fatalities since the start of the year. 131 persons have been killed so far this year, compared to 95 in the same period last year. That's an increase of 38%. Motorcyclists still lead the statistics, accounting for 31% of road users killed, pedestrians 22%, and passengers 21%. 18% of those killed in crashes were private motor vehicle drivers, while 15% were private motor vehicle passengers. A search is now on in earnest in the Red Hills area of St. Andrew to locate 8-year-old Shantae Skies of Sterling Castle Heights, who has been missing since last Thursday. Shantae is of dark complexion, slim build, and about 3 feet 8 inches tall. Reports are that about 7 o'clock Thursday morning, Shantae left home for school and has not been seen or heard from since. She was last seen dressed in her school uniform.
Been doing a lot as we could have, but seemingly we are not bearing the kind of fruits that we anticipated. We are not sure what really happened here. Nobody's fully aware. We can't get the kind of information that is required to send us in a particular direction. So what we have done, we have come together as a security force, both the army and the police, and we decided that we're going to come and comb the entire area that the girl may have, somewhat gone through to see what we can find.
Anyone with information on Shantae Skies' whereabouts is being asked to call the Red Hills Police at 945-8270. That's 945-8270, Emergency Police 119, or the nearest police station. The cardiac ward to be constructed at the Bustamante Hospital for Children is expected to cost between $90 to $100 million. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton gave an update today. TVJ's O'Shane Masters reports.
Addressing Monday's opening of a new pediatric cardiac center at the Bustamante Hospital for Children, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said the cardiac ward will have 20 beds. He explained that the government will partner with other stakeholders for the construction of a state-of-the-art facility. The National Health Fund and the Chase Fund have been asked to contribute a total of $20 million to the project. Dr. Tufton says the ward is of vital importance as there is approximately 200 children on the waiting list for open-heart pediatric surgery.
This facility is a response to that, and my commitment is that in the first year, we are going to do whatever is possible to ensure that we deliver at least, and I say at least, Emma, a minimum of 100 heart surgeries right here at this facility.
The health minister says a review will have to be conducted to determine what held up the project. Dr. Tufton says if the various sectors in the country are to move forward, there needs to be a quicker turnaround time between the signing of a memorandum of understanding and the start of construction. His comment comes following the protracted period for the construction of the cardiac ward at the Bustamante Hospital for Children. TVJ News understands that the Memorandum of Understanding was signed from 2010 while ground was broken in 2013. However, work on the cardiac ward only started this year.
And frankly speaking, it should not have taken 6 years to get us to this point. And we must not allow it to happen again. So part of the review of the process is going to have to be, how do we ensure that we are efficient in accommodating our external partners, in facilitating our overall objective, and ultimately in providing the badly service that is needed to those that we serve, in this case, our young people.
The cardiac ward will offer support to the new pediatric cardiac center as patients will be transferred there for recovery after surgery. The Pediatric Cardiac Center currently offers treatment and surgeries for children with congenital heart defects. It is the only one of its kind in Jamaica and has a 10-bed intensive care unit. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The number of dengue cases in St. Anne has declined. Acting Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Tamika Henry, says between January and March this year, more than 500 suspected cases of dengue were reported. The cases were mainly among children ages 5 to 14. However, with about 60 vector control workers dispatched to various areas in the parish, fewer cases are being reported.
We have visited over 30,000 or more premises since that time, and we have noticed that the indices that are relating to mosquitoes have been trending downward. So our container index for mosquitoes have been going down, our premises index have been going down, and our BRAT2 indices have been going down as well. And we have noticed in the last 2 weeks of March that the number significantly decreased. We had only about 6 reported cases coming from weeks where we had in the teens or more.
The Jamaica Labour Party's Marie Vaz is to be sworn in this afternoon as the Member of Parliament for Portland Eastern following her victory in the April 4 by-election. Speaker of the House of Representatives Pernell Charles gave confirmation. Director of Elections Glaspole Brown told TVJ News that notification was issued yesterday, clearing the way for Mrs. Vaz to be sworn in. The JLP will have 34 seats in the House and the People's National Party 29. About $2 million is to be spent to rehabilitate a roadway which has been out of operations for a number of years in Lawrence Tavern, St. Andrew. Councillor for the Lawrence Tavern Division, John Myers, says it will provide easier access for an estimated 1,000 residents in 5 communities. Previously, residents of areas like Belvedere, Rose Hall and Content had to walk a few miles to get to Lawrence Tavern. The councillor says work will also be done to reinstall a bridge for vehicular and pedestrian traffic.
It will be cheaper for them and reasonable and a bit more economic for everybody. Children going to school, people going to market, and farmers will be much better off. They can carry out their project.
When you come to rural parts of Jamaica, you'll see roads like this or non-existent roads, which this was a little track where a car could not really drive. So I'm really happy, and I think the people, that's what I've been getting. The people are very excited, even though you don't see anybody out here now, but the people are quite excited about this opening of this space.
I feel good, you know, because remember one time I was track. Just walk come here, come a river, and come cut cane and pick people breadfruit and rose. And now you can drive.
Meanwhile, the contractor for the project, Rockwell Innovations, says once the weather permits, work should be completed in 2 to 3 months. As for the bridge...
Well, we're waiting on material to come for the bridge, and it will probably take 2 to 3 weeks to get the bridge completely finished.
Member of Parliament for Central Manchester, Peter Bunting, is dissatisfied that residents who got lots at the Perth housing development still have no access to potable water. The first phase of the housing development was officially opened in 2013 by then Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller. Speaking at last week's groundbreaking ceremony of another phase of the Perth Estate housing scheme, Mr. Bunting explained that there was an agreement to ensure that residents would have water within 2 years, but to date it has not been done. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Pernell Charles Jr., says residents of Mandeville and surrounding areas will benefit from a $1 billion upgrade to their water supply system.
So we expect that through the general works that's being done to improve the overall Greater Mandeville water supply, which includes the development of 2 wells in Hanson and Cassava Factory at Goshen in St. Elizabeth, which includes the supply and installation of additional pumping equipment for the gutters and spur tree relief stations, which includes what is already in progress, the supply and installation of pumping equipment for number 4, and upgrades to the transmission and distribution network. Those things will impact the Perth housing development.
He said the project is expected to be implemented over the next 14 months, and other works will be undertaken to increase access to potable water for residents of Perth Estate.
And that includes the transmission of main upgrades between Kingsland Reservoir and the Perth Tank. It includes the upgrade also of the Perth Tank, including construction of a new pumping station. And it includes also the supply and installation of transmission mains from the Perth Tank to a new tank at Moreland, which will be equipped with a pump station dedicated to serving the Perth housing development.
The National Housing Trust's Perth Estate Phase 1A development will feature a total of 118 housing solutions and will see the construction of 70 detached 2-bedroom units and 48 serviced lots. And in sports, it will be a repeat of last year's final in the Red Stripe Premier League after Portmore United and Waterhouse overcame Mount Pleasant Academy and Cavalier FC in their second leg semi-final matches on Monday evening at the National Stadium. In the second match of what was a doubleheader, Javon East gave Portmore a 22nd minute lead, and Mount Pleasant left it late before finding an eventual equalizer through Soleil McCalla in added time. The result was enough, however, to see defending champions Portmore advance 3-2 on aggregate.
How did you think your team played?
They surprised me. I think they would have made some changes, but they didn't, because probably last week they felt like they were in more control of the game. But tonight I think we played much better, which make it look a more easier game for us, or a more manageable game for us, and we played some good football tonight.
What happened? Why you didn't get the better of this team over 2 legs?
Well, after doing some reflection, I felt that tonight finishing was the problem. We're very dismal in front of goal. We didn't nail our nerves. We wasn't composed. Chasing a deficit of 1-0, you'll always make mistake. So it's a stage, it's a mindset, the psychological aspect. I thought we fell down and we should have been more composed in front of goals, but we did enough to win the game.
Earlier, Waterhouse booked their place in the final after defeating Cavalier 1-0 in their second leg of the semi-final for a 3-0 aggregate scoreline. Kemar Dada Daly scored for Waterhouse a minute after the halftime break to send them into their second straight final.
It was all about managing the game to the 90 minutes plus, and that's what we did, and we were very much happy.
Well, we knew that they were going to sit behind the ball and try to hit us on the counter. If you notice, we were coming through the flanks in the first half very well. And actually, we got the opportunities. We got a lot of opportunities in the first half. We hit the post, we got an empty goal, we got an empty clear header. None went in. We would have been satisfied with one goal. But then I think when we came back out, we probably was a little bit flat. And that goal that scored against us was total against us. It was their first real possession. He went in, and I think that deflated us from there on.
And that's the midday news. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.